Greetings, everybody. Today I want to talk about faith, and I want to talk about Abraham and the faith that he had. Today I'm going to explain to you that uh, you cannot create faith by trying not to be afraid. You cannot create faith by trying not to be afraid. So many times we don't have faith and we experience fear, but as we experience this fear, we try to throw a blind eye to our fears and say, I don't have fear, I don't have fear, I don't have fear, and then think that we are creating faith in our hearts that way. You cannot create faith in your heart by throwing a blind eye to your fears. That's not how it works. And you might say, but Abraham believed God and didn't consider the deadness of Sarah's womb. So he was not considering how dead his body is. He was not considering how dead Sarah's womb was, and that was great faith. Now, I want to look at that passage quickly and see what the scripture really says on that matter. This is now Romans chapter 4 and verse 19. It says here that Abraham, it says, and being not weak in faith, he considered not his own body now dead. So Abraham was not weak in faith, and the fruit of not being weak in faith was that he was not considering his own body now dead. It's like flying in an aeroplane. If you fly an aeroplane and you have a belief and a faith that the aeroplane is good and that it's a good airline, you sleep on the plane. Or you watch a movie, you sit and chat with a friend, you laugh, you watch a comedy, you just enjoy your flight. Why? Why are you not considering the tensions inside the wings? Why are you not considering if there's enough fuel in the plane? Because you already believe. Now, should you become afraid in the airplane and you are all the time thinking, is there enough fuel in this plane? Are these wings strong enough? And all those kind of things. To try not to think about it is not the source of belief. What you would need to do is, if you've got online, you can go onto Google and you can go and read up on the strength of those planes and the kind of storms they've already survived, and the process that airplanes go through before they are able to take off, and all the security measures that's taken. And as you then believe the truth, you will find that you are not considering anymore if there is any fuel in the plane or not, or something like that. So many times we have thought that Abraham had great faith because he was not considering the deadness of Sarah's womb or his own body about 100 years old. No, Abraham did not have great faith because he was not considering the deadness of his body. Abraham had Abraham had faith. The word great faith is not even mentioned here. We can just say faith. Abraham had faith, and from the perspective of faith, faith created a place where he was not considering, he was not even thinking about it. It was not part of his mind. Now, you might say, well, that's good for Abraham, but what about poor old me? Because I feel different. I am considering if there is fuel in this spiritual plane. I am all the time thinking, are these wings strong enough, and all those kind of things. What must I do? And what if I don't see results in my life? What must I do? What if I have unbelief? Now, well, there was a person in the Bible that didn't know if his faith was enough, but God helped him through Jesus Christ. Let us go and look at Mark 9:19. Mark 9:19. Here it is. This is Jesus now addressing a situation. There was a child that was an unclean spirit, and the disciples couldn't cast the spirit out. And then Jesus comes and he says to the disciples and to the people there, "O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you?" And he speaks to them. And then he goes on and he starts to speak to the Father. And he says to the Father that the Father asked him to heal the child. And he said, "If you can believe, all things are possible to him that believe." And straightway, listen to what the Father said. And straightway the father of the child cried out and said with tears, "Lord, I believe. Help you my unbelief." So he says, "I do believe. I believe. I brought him to your disciples. I do believe. But if I've got any form of unbelief, please would you help my unbelief?" And we find that Jesus did cast the devil out, and that the child was then healed. So I want to say to you, what I do when I look at a certain situation, and I have faith in God, I do trust Him, I do believe in Him, but when I see that I'm considering my inability, when I'm considering my situation is starting to grab a hold of my mind, you know what I do? I just say, "God, I know, I do believe, but you help my unbelief by what you believe. I'm just here at your mercy." And that would help, where it says, "help my unbelief," is also used in Hebrews chapter 2 and verse 18. Let's go there. It says, here it is, "Wherefore in all things it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren, that in all things he might be a merciful high priest in things pertaining to God, to make reconciliation for the sins of the people. For in that he himself suffered being tempted, he is also able to secure," or in the Greek it is the word "help them that are tempted." This man said, "Jesus, help my unbelief." It's the very same word that where it says that Jesus was also tempted to help them that are tempted. When are you tempted? Is when you are drawn away by your own evil desires. When are you tempted? Is when you are at a place where you are looking at your faith is becoming weak. You are feeling, "I don't know if I believe anymore. I'm considering now the deadness of my own body." In that time, the deepest prayer you can pray is, "Help. Help, Lord. Help my unbelief." I have prayed that many times in my life, and it's one of my most favorite prayers is, "Help, Lord." Thank you for allowing me to serve you today with this good news message. And the moment I read something that just burns in my heart to share with you, I will make another one of these live streams. Thank you so much. God bless.